Welcome to this tutorial to learn more about the Delayed Receivables Impact Report in the Labor Pricing for a Profit software version 6.0. We are really excited about some of the new calculators that have been added to the labor pricing software. We've given you all new tools to help you better manage your company, and these calculators will certainly open your eyes when it comes to looking at some of the numbers differently within your budgets, your cash flow, and your pricing. Well, let's go ahead and get started and look at this report. To look at the Delayed Receivables Impact Report, we're going to go into the Calculators section simply by clicking on the Calculators menu item on the left-hand toolbar. Here, we'll now click on the very first item, the Delayed Impact Receivables Calculator. When we run this report, you'll notice that it looks very much like the cash flow report that we saw in the Reports section. The reason for that is, it is. One of the things that we wanted to show you is the impact that receivables, not collecting your money immediately at the end of the service call or the end of the job, what is the impact of that to your company and to your cash flow? So let's take a look at this. On the top half of the screen, we can see that we're looking at the service department. We've got the report month-by-month cash flow for the service department showing up on the bottom. As we switch the various departments, again, the report that's displayed on the bottom half of the screen will change accordingly. We'll start looking at the service department. Now remember, from the monthly cash flow report, we've got the two tabs right here. The first one is the cash flow statements, which displays the report at the bottom half of the screen in the form of a table or a report. The second one is graphs, which displays it in the form of a graph. Now I'll leave the graph displayed while we make our changes because visually the impact jumps out at you much quicker. On the top half of the screen, as I said earlier, we've got the various departments listed. We've also got the calculation method, the rate that applies to that calculation method, whether this department is retail only or not, and we now have added into this calculator a lag days. In other words, how many days are receivables lagging in this department? By default, the lag days will always be set to 0. To change this, you can simply go in and modify your department. Now, before I do that, just make a mental note of what the graph on the screen looks like at this point in time. That's our current cash flow. And again, remember that the diamonds represent the individual monthly profit or loss. The circles are a cumulative total for the year. So I'm going to go in now and click on Modify Department Setup. In here, we can change our calculation method or the rate, just like we did in the cash flow report. But now in here, we can also enter in an average lag days for our receivables. So if your receivables are typically 30 days out, we can now enter in 30 days for a lag here and click on OK. The software will immediately calculate, and keep your eye on the graph down below. You'll notice that instantly it's now changed itself to reflect the revised cash flow because of the delayed receivables that we have. Because keep in mind, just because your customers aren't paying you, your suppliers still want to be paid. If we make that even a little bit more delayed, and I'll change this instead to our receivables are typically 60 days out, once again, we can see that immediate impact on the cash flow report. It changes and updates itself immediately. So now we've got several more months that look a little bit tougher throughout the year. And cash flow isn't nearly as good as it was if we were to collect at the end of every service call. So make it a point to do that. This report will show you this information. Now we can run this simulation department by department. So even though we made the changes in the service department, you'll notice we're now showing up lag days in that column here of 60, but the install department is still set to 0. So that has not been impacted by the other changes. We can do this department by department. This concludes this tutorial for the Delayed Impact Receivables Calculator. I would suggest that you certainly take a look at some of the other calculators because they will give you tremendous amounts of information about your company and the changes that you may need to make. Thank you.